Hello. I do believe that this is part 4 of my series, or our series, on creating our own new global organization given the current circumstances. And so where we left off last time was we were going to start on the first of 99 rights. I believe there are 99 rights and then 10 commercial. So we'll see where we get today. I am thinking that we will try to get about halfway through this. Here's what we'll do. We'll go to 27, and then we have the commercial stuff. So maybe we'll go to there. So 1. Whereas all men have natural, essential, and inherent rights, among which are the enjoying and defending of life and liberty, the inherent right to acquire, own, possess, and protect property, and to seek and obtain happiness. Rights shall not be denied or abridged under any circumstance or for any reason. And remember, this is the Notice of Understanding, Sovereignty, and Declaration of Rights, Part 2, but Part 4 of the global organization. Number 2, whereas all have the right to keep and bear arms in defense of themselves, their family, their property, and their state. Whereas when men enter into a state of society, they surrender up some of their natural rights to that society in order to ensure the protection of others, and without such an equivalent, their surrender is void. If the public duty doctrine remains in effect in the United States, we have no duty to the state, and we certainly have no duty to its law enforcement. If they have no duty to protect, then the people have no duty to be compelled to perform for law enforcement, i.e. the police, or for the government. In the United States, police act like sovereign citizens who are illegally in possession of firearms. Sovereign citizen is defined as one who thinks they have the right to rule and compel performance over people and attempt to use fear, coercion, and intimidate in the pursuit of political aims. Isn't that funny how I turned the term sovereign citizen around on them and made the police the sovereign citizens? And I love my police, I'm not bad-mouthing the police right now. I'm just saying that that's how they've acted in certain circumstances that I've had with them. So I don't want to bad-mouth anybody. I love everybody, but... Number 4, whereas natural rights are unalienable because no equivalent can be given or received for them, and of these rights, one of the most important is conscience and consciousness. We can add that later. 5, whereas all people have the natural unalienable right to worship God to the dictate of his own conscience and reason, and no one shall be hurt, molested, and restrained in his personal freedom, liberty, or estate for worshiping God in the manner, season, and way most agreeable to the dictates of his conscience. Nor shall he be hurt, molested, or restrained for his religious profession, sentiment, or persuasion. 6, whereas morality and piety, rightly grounded on high principles, will give the best and greatest security to all, and will lay in the hearts of men the strongest obligation to due subjection and service. I don't like that wording, so I'm probably going to change that. And as the knowledge of these is most likely to be propagated through society, therefore our ministry, commercial, trust, business, and religious societies shall at all times have the right of electing their own leaders, teachers, organizers, contracting for them with the support and maintenance, or both. But no one shall ever be compelled to pay towards the schools of any sect or denomination, and every man, denomination, or sect shall be protected by the law. And the sect congregation of Atlantis shall be the primary ministry church, but we accept any established church or ministry. Some number 6 I think needs to be amended a bit. 7, where it is understood that the right to a proper court, which is a court of record, which includes a trial by jury, different from jury trial, under the biblical common law, generally has a seal, power to fine, or imprison for contempt, keep the records of the proceedings in a tribunal as independent of the magistrate. We may even want to go away from that idea and go into more divine law than common law. I think I don't think we're common people. So why would we want common law? I think we're divine, so we want divine law. That's my take now, but that's what's here right now. 8, whereas the people have the sole exclusive right of governing themselves as a free, sovereign, and independent state/people, and do forever hereafter exercise and enjoy every power, jurisdiction, and right pertaining thereto, which is not, and shall not, and will not ever be delegated to the United States of America in Congress assembled. I like the way I did that one. Whereas the people of the state of Atlantis reserve and retain the right to regulate themselves, the internal government and police thereof, as a free, sovereign, and independent state/people. Whereas government being instituted for the common benefit, well, for the benefit of the individual, as it should be. We come together for the benefit of the individual. So I might change that. Protection. So, but for now, whereas government being instituted, this is number 10. Whereas government being instituted for the common benefit, protection, and security of the whole community, and not for private interest or emolument of any man or class of men. Therefore, whenever the ends of government are perverted and public liberty manifestly endangered, and all other means of redress ineffectual, the people may, and of right ought to reform and establish a new government. The doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary power and oppression is absurd and slavish and destructive to the good and happiness of mankind. Whereas all people are entitled to a certain remedy by having recourse to the law for all injuries he may receive in his person, property, or character, and to attain right and just freely without being obliged to purchase it completely and without any denial and promptly without any delay. Whereas none of the people shall be held to answer for any crime offense until the evidence and witness against them is fully, plainly, substantially, and formally shown to him, nor shall he be compelled to accuse or furnish evidence against himself. All people have the right to provide evidence, witness, and other proofs that are favorable to him, the right to meet witness against him face to face and to be fully heard in his defense. 13. Whereas none of the people shall be arrested, imprisoned, despoiled, or deprived of his right, property, immunities, privileges, or entitlements, put out of protection of the law, exiled or deprived of his life, liberty, freedom, property, or estate, but by the judgment of the people, or the law of the state, not statute. And the law is love thyself and thy God with all thy heart, mind, and soul, and love thy neighbor as thyself. 14. Whereas all people have the right to be secure from all reasonable searches, seizures of person, houses, papers, and effects, automobiles, property, both tangible and intangible, estate, and all his possessions. Furthermore, all warrants to search suspected places or arrest one of the people for an examination or trial and prosecution for criminal matters are contrary to this right if cause or foundation of them not be supported by oath or affirmation, and valid evidence of probable cause and witness that there was harm or damage is not provided. If the order and warrant to make search in suspected places or to arrest or more suspected person, people, or to seize their property is not accompanied with the special designation of specific people, persons, or objects and locations of the search, then it is not allowed and illegal. Arrest or seizure with no warrant will not be issued but by precise description of object of search, arrest, and seizure, and there must be witness other than law enforcement for an arrest or seizure to take place. Whereas free speech and liberty of the press are essential to the security and freedom of the people, they therefore will be inviolably preserved. Whereas retrospective laws are highly injurious, oppressive, and unjust, no retrospective laws therefore should be made, either for civil causes or for punishment or offenses. Whereas the people have the right, by way of petition or remonstration, to redress the wrongs done to them and the grievances suffered. Whereas the freeborn sentient human beings possessing sovereign souls are subject to our Creator, known variously to us as God, whatever you want to call it, nature, life, spirit, the universe, creation, the absolute, the source, and are not granted to governments. Whereas the laws that apply to human beings are the laws of creation, also known as divine law, the laws of nature, the laws of love, and or the laws of the universe. Whereas the people are in possession of a sovereign soul, and whereas any system of law that is not of the Creator is of man, and whereas the only jurisdiction fully and completely consented to is the one of the Creator who speaks to our heart, whom we call love, and who dictates truth and right actions. And this is 23. Whereas it is understood that the enlegis artificial person created by government, whose sole purpose is to enable the sovereign soul to participate in the game of commerce. And 24. Where it is understood that the trust and legis artificial person was created for the exclusive use and enrichment of the people. And 25. Whereas it is understood that the people of the state of Atlantis are the creditor in fact of the state, and as such is the sole source and origin of all credit and energy productivity which finances and said corporate entities. And 26. Whereas it is understood that the corporate person and the human being to which it is associated are two very separate and different things, and that those playing roles within government only have the right to act upon the person. And 27. Here's the maxims of commerce. Whereas it is understood that the following maxims of commerce represent the fundamental principles and precepts of universal commercial law that have for millennia formed the underpinnings of civilized society. A workman is worthy of his hire. It is against equity for free men not to have free disposal of their own property. All are equal under the law. No one is above the law. In commerce, truth is sovereign. To lie is to go against the mind. Truth is expressed by means of an affidavit, sworn truth. An unrebutted affidavit stands as truth in commerce. He who does not deny admits. An unrebutted affidavit becomes judgment in commerce. A matter must be expressed or be resolved. He who fails to assert his rights has none. He who leaves the battlefield first loses by default. He who does not repel a wrong when he can occasions it. Sacrifice is the measure of credibility. He who bears the burden should derive the benefit. A lien or a claim can be satisfied only through rebuttal by counter-affidavit point for point, resolution by jury, or payment. If the plaintiff does not prove his case, the defendant is absolved. And I think that's where we'll stop, where we just finished 27 with the commercial, with some of the commercial stuff. I think that's good. Remember, I'm going to show you, this is the Declaration of Rights for the state of Atlantis. We've gone over the charter already, just to show you what we're doing. I probably should have done this from the beginning. Here's the charter. We're trying to get a group of people together to do this. This can be done, under Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution for the United States of America says that no state shall impair the obligations of contracts. So if we all got together and contract through this, then we would be well within our right within the United States of America. And so that's what I'm looking to do. And have a good one.